Hey there YouTubers, it's Browncoatnerd and I've got another review video for you. This one's going to be on the CZ VZ50. Basically VZ is short for, as you can see there, VZOR, which is model. And you'll notice on the slide it does say 50 cal, but that means model 50 caliber. And then you see the 7.65, which in American talk is 32 ACP. This one is also marked made in Czechoslovakia rather than Czech Republic because of when it was made, which is just kind of neat and cool. So the CZ50, which is very, very close to the CZ70, I'll go over the differences, but this could almost be a review video for both firearms. There's only some small changes that were made in them. But the CZ50 or CZVZ50 or whatever you want to call it, started production in 1950. There's two manufacturing facilities that this was made at, and their names I'm going to butcher now. The first factory was, I apologize, Strakonice, that's STRAKONICE. And then the other factory was, holy cow, Urskybrod. That is UHERSKYBROD. So it started production in 1950. I do know production stopped at the first facility, Strakonice, in 1955 altogether, and then it was just left up to Urskybrod. Also, it's worth noting that production either slowed down or it stopped altogether between the years of 52 and 54, so they could concentrate working on the CZ52. So if you have a CZ50 between the years of 52 and 54, I would say hold on to it. It's probably an oddball. Like I said, I'm not sure if production was reduced or completely stopped, so might not be any out there at all. Anyways, but like I said, this is chambered in 32 ACP. It features a double action, single action trigger, and I have safety checked this. So you have your double action, and then of course, sorry for the finger, single action. Also does feature a decocker that is on the safety here. So you can put the safe on with the hammer back, or if you want, just push the safety lever down a little more, and it decocks it and leaves it in safe, which is kind of cool. I like that, especially for a gun this old. You also have a loaded chamber indicator, which is right here, and it just kind of sticks out like so. It does lock back on the last round, but there's no external slide release, so you'd either need to remove the empty mag and rack the slide, or put in a loaded magazine and rack the slide. It does have a quote-unquote American-style mag release up here, rather than what you see on a lot of the communist satellite countries and such, the little heel release down here. So that's kind of nice. And like I said, this is very close to the CZ70. And what they changed on the CZ70, they changed out the grips, had a different pattern on the side here, which in my opinion is uglier than what these are, but it also kind of came out a little more on the back here, had a better shaped back strap, which I guess is supposed to make it more ergonomic. The hammer on the 70 has a hole in it, and yes, this one has a hole in it as well. I'll get to that in a little bit. This gun kind of has some of the features of the newer one, but most CZ50s, the hammer will be solid. You will see a lot of the 50s with different features that they put on the 70 later, just because over time, you know, when they had to replace parts, they used the newer parts rather than using the old ones. The trigger on most of the 50s is smooth, and you probably can't see it, but this one it's textured. On the 70, they changed it, gave it some horizontal or vertical lines there, kind of make it a little more grippy. The magazine safety button was changed out. It was actually made a little bit smaller, I believe, for the 70. I have no clue if that is the standard 50 magazine release or the newer style 70 magazine release. They did some real minor changes to this, the safety switch here, the shape of it and the contours. I've looked at pictures, and I can't tell a difference between the safety levers. So the changes must be extremely subtle. Another change they did on it, this is your takedown lever right here, or takedown button. This is the newer style, so the CZ70 style is going to be that kind of flat at the top and hatch marks on it. The older original CZ50 style, it was rounded at the top rather than just being flat, and it just had the vertical lines on it. This one looks a little uglier, kind of like an ugly mole. But I'm sure the functionality-wise, this is just a lot easier, you know, to use that button and take it down. And I've noticed the loaded chamber indicator on the older 50s. I'm not sure when they changed this, but it was like kind of a polished chrome. And then later on, at some point, they switched it to just this. I think originally it was blued, so it just matched the gun. You just kind of have to fill that popping out there. I'm not sure when they changed it. I know all of the 70s appear to have this style of loaded chamber indicator, even though there's not much bluing left on that. They also changed some of the slide serrations. The original 50s didn't have as many serrations as the later 70s, but this one has more than both of them. I've looked at a lot of pictures online, and I found a few model 50s with this many serrations, but most of them, the serrations stop, you know, what my thumb is covering up would all be smooth. And on the later 50s, they put the CZ logo right there, which I thought looked pretty smooth. But I think they widened the serrations, or narrowed them, but added more serrations between the two models. But I don't know when they did this full kind of serration treatment. I'm imagining they did it in the later production of the 50s. Maybe kind of thinking about going to that for the Model 70, but decided not to for whatever reason. I wouldn't know why. I figured that would be the best design right there. It's got the most out of all of them. So, if you guys are watching this and you've got a CZ50 or 70 and you have the full serrations like that, let me know what year of production your 50 or 70 is. I'm really kind of curious about at what point they did this kind of oddball serration bit on here. Another thing that I see this on a lot of the 50s, but a lot of sources are saying that they added this wavy pattern here to help reduce glare on the Model 70. But I've seen a lot of 50s with this. I have seen, I'm pretty sure I've seen some 50s without it. But now I'm really curious. I did have some people, I actually guess just one guy respond with my first review video on this firearm, saying that he had two 50s and he was pretty sure that they had this up here. I believe he was deployed at the time, so he wasn't 100% sure. Like I said, this is actually my second video on this. I took the other one down. I have very limited editing skills in that I'm not computer illiterate and I don't have a whole lot of free time to kind of spend on this. Sorry, guys. But there's a few things I was not really sure of. I found out a little bit more on these since making that first video. And then there's one part where I horribly misspoke. I don't know why I said it, and luckily someone pointed it out. I watch these videos before I upload them. I swear I do. And somehow I misspoke, and then I watched the video and I didn't even catch it. But my first video, I said these started production in 1940, which, you know, is not correct at all. It's the Model 50. Almost always your model number is the year of production. I don't know why I said that, but I did. Luckily, someone pointed it out, so I decided I should take the video down until I can edit it and fix it. And then I've just kind of picked up a few more things and also got a few more questions. So I figured I'd just redo the whole video. So there's that backstory. One thing that's worth pointing out, and I forgot to grab the grips. This grip panel here, that's all ugly and kind of wavy right here, is reproduction. This grip panel here, as you can tell by its age and distressed look, is original. I think this is actually Bakelite, which is kind of cool. I bought this from Classic Firearms. It's when they first got these in. I forget what the price was. They've been having them on sale a whole bunch lately. I did pay the extra $10 for Hand Select, and as I said in the first video, this is the first time I feel ripped off from Hand Select. I know when you pay for Hand Select, you're not necessarily getting a new gun, but dang, can I have some bluing, please? And I will tell you, this gun looked way worse when I first got it. It had a fair amount of surface rust on it, tons of grease. These grips were just caked in with gunk, and they were covered with stickers. It was weird. But yeah, I cleaned the living crap out of this. I took some of the, the triple aught steel wool, which is the triple aught, the really fine stuff. You're fine with, you're not having to worry about taking the bluing off or scratching it. Cleaned it up with that. I even put at least the slide here. I took it down completely and put it in the ultrasonic cleaner. I don't feel like those ultrasonic cleaners necessarily get you a deeper clean than, just cleaning it by hand, but they really help getting all those nooks and crannies, especially with an older gun like this that's just caked with grease. And as you can see, I still got, I don't think that's rust. I'm hoping it's not rust. I think it's just still old grease and crap packed in there. Oh, through the camera, that kind of looks, maybe just like specks of bluing left behind. There, it's kind of bad. But I've just really tried cleaning this gun up as best as I can. When I first got it, you could not even see those waves. It was just like a raised strip right here. There was so much just gunk kicked up on it. It was bad. It was really bad. I wasn't sure if this gun was going to function at all when I first got it. But I will say, after I cleaned it up, I took it out to the range. I've taken it out 3 times total now, I think. Surprisingly, it's functioned flawlessly. It's been a really fun little shooter. I discovered how fun 32 ACP actually is to shoot. But I've had 0 issues with this. I don't know why. I saw a box of 32 ACP hollow points, and I bought them. I don't know what the point of 32 ACP hollow points are. If I were carrying a 32 for self-defense, I'd probably want Full Metal Jacket, just because there's not a lot of power behind that bullet. So I want it to penetrate as much as possible rather than mushrooming and, But yeah, but there's a box of hollow points, and out of curiosity, got to find out if it runs these. So I did buy the box. I only ran like 2 or maybe 3 mags of the hollow points through here. It's not a very scientific run through, but it ran those few mags flawlessly on the hollow points. So if for whatever reason you want hollow points, or all you can find are hollow points, for my little experience with them, it does work well. I will say about the slide, though, I have never completely broken down a slide on any of my handguns. I usually just try to avoid that. This one is super easy. It was really a cakewalk to break this slide completely down. I mean, I left the rear sight in there. I didn't take that out. But everything, this is a really easy one. There's videos on YouTube on how to do it. So if you're kind of intimidated about that, like me, fret not. This one's an easy one to break down and clean. I have not completely broken down the body, though. Sorry, I keep getting my finger in the lens there. Okay, so what have I not covered? I think I've pretty much covered everything. Size-wise, I mean, it's a pretty little dude, very much like the Walther PPK, PPQ. I always get them mixed up. I'm talking about the Bond gun. Size-wise, let's see. Here's your Makarov. Overall size, I'd say it's about the same as a Makarov. Maybe just a little bit shorter in the grip area. It's definitely thinner than the old Mac, as you can see there. Compared to the old trusty P64, obviously it's going to be just a little bit smaller in the dimensions. My very extremely scientific measurements here. And then the P64, surprise, surprise, is just a little bit thinner. Oh, I wish I had 3 arms. Just a little bit thinner than the CZ50. So if you have those 2 guns, you know exactly where this size of this gun falls. Magazines are a little pricey to come by. They're not the easiest. The spring in this one and they're not drop free. Blomp. The spring in this one felt really weak. Actually, kind of feels a little springier now. It was a while back since I felt that. How would I know? I had real concerns about this mag giving me issues. The CZ50s, I've seen a lot of comments online about how they're not really the most dependable guns. I've seen a lot of people defending that. I've shot this gun. I've shot a total of maybe 125 rounds through this with zero flaws. And I honestly, like, the condition that I got this gun, I was blown away at that. So yeah, one thing I forgot to go over. The proof mark, these were made for both the civilian market as well as the police. I don't believe these were ever intended for the military. 32 ACP wasn't really a military round. It was still popular with the police and civilians at the time. But obviously they're using the CZ52. But this does have the government proof mark with the N. I think it's like a lion and some swords or something. And then right behind it says 70. Now, I found two conflicting things on this 70 here. One says that's the production year, which would make sense for this one. It has a lot of the features of the 70, and the CZ70 went into production either later in 70 or in 71. So that would kind of make sense. They've got a lot of the parts are getting ready to switch over, so they just start throwing them on their existing CZ50s they have left over. Another thing I'm running into this on the explanation on this is that year is the year that it was accepted into the government, military, police, whoever. Basically, when it got that little N on it saying, okay, this has been, government guy, whatever, so-and-so looked over this gun, says it's okay and can come into the service, that the year in which that was done is stamped right there. So not necessarily is that the year of manufacturing. I would imagine that if that's the year it got accepted into the military or police, that the production year would be that year or pretty darn close. So I'm not really sure on that. But like I said, if this was made in 1970, that would completely make sense because it's got the CZ70 breakdown button there, the lever, whatever you want to call it. It's got the textured trigger. It's got the hammer, possibly wavy pattern, anti-glare, grooves on the slide. So yeah, and also, like I said, a lot of these 50s, when a part broke, they just replaced it with the upgraded part for the 70. So comparing, looking at the bluing, this thing got a lot of loot, what bluing is left on there, this thing got a lot of use. So it's possible it just got abused and parts replaced on it, and they just switched it to the newer style parts on here. God, I'm sorry I'm jumping around. I don't think I ever explained why I have the replacement grip on this side. So when I ordered it from Classic, the grip it appeared in fine shape. I had pictures of it because I compared it. But after I took it out shooting for the first time, brought it home, taking it out to clean it, I noticed that this piece right here had broken off. And so immediately I was like, damn, Classic, paid $10 to get a gun with no bluing and broken grips. But I looked at those pictures that I had taken of the gun after I got it, and that piece is on there. I zoomed in, it was a pretty good picture. I did not see any signs of a crack, at least on the outside. Maybe there was on the inside. I looked all over inside my shooting bag. I could not find the missing piece. So I don't know if it just broke off while I was shooting the gun and I didn't notice. I'm not throwing my guns around, at the range or at home. So I don't really see it getting broken off through mishandling. But yeah, that's the reason I have this grip on there. This is the closest to the original I could find because I didn't want to put nice fancy wood grips on a gun that has no bluing. That would just look kind of goofy. So yeah, they weren't the best. So I just used the one side. I am in the hunt for some original grips for this because that's really the reason I picked this over the 50 was I liked the way these grips looked more than the 50. I think the 50, from what I've heard and seen, it probably feels better in the hand. It's just not as pretty to look at. So yeah, that's why I went this route. Markings, like I said on this one, you got the CZ logo on the grip here. The 50, I don't think it has a CZ logo on the grip, but it is up here where there's no serrations. He's got the serial numbers on this side. You got the proof or acceptance marking here, along with the acceptance year or manufacturing year. You got your CZ mark saying model 50 cal, which is really confusing because it's 765 cal. Yeah, every time I've let anyone shoot this, they usually look at it and they're like, I don't think this is a 50 cal. This got Czechoslovakia on there rather than Czech Republic. You got another proof mark right here. And then the old ugly importer mark. Why can't you put it right there? Anyways, so that's on there now. Like I said, this is a really fun gun to shoot. If you like collecting surplus, they're all over on the market right now. Just be wary if you're buying from Classic, at least, about that $10 handpick fee. I've bought a lot of guns from Classic. I usually go for the handpick fee. Not always. Usually when I go for it, when I get the gun, I can't say if it did me any good, but I'm never feeling like, oh, I just wasted that hand select fee. Until this gun. But no, if you're a CZ fan, these are really fun guns to shoot, or just a surplus fan. The little 32 ACP is a fun caliber. Not really the best for home defense, or if you plan on carrying, I'd recommend getting something a little beefier. So this is, I would categorize this just as kind of a good plinking target gun. It would also be great for first-time shooters. It really doesn't kick at all, but it's, lets you know it's there compared to, 22 LR. But overall, I'm happy with my purchase. I've even contemplated buying a CZ70, but I keep telling myself, no, it's like the same gun. So I just need to spend my money on other guns. But yeah, so anyways, guys out there, if you have any idea on this, I'm pretty sure, I have a feeling this might be production year. Or maybe, when they were produced, they were sent straight over and they got that proof marking on there. But if you have any more further input on the year, please comment. And these too, if you got a CZ50, I want to know, do you have the anti-glare strip up here? And this is kind of a wavy pattern. Maybe they just changed the pattern. I don't know. But let me know if you have this or not. Let me know what year your 50 is. I'm very curious about that. But yeah, thanks for watching my video, guys. If you watched the first one and then watched this over again, I'm sorry. I hope I shed a little more light on some things and probably got you scratching your head more on other things. But yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay shiny.